Westwood Village Rotary Club. Okay. The four-way test of things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Carmela, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
It doesn't look like she's on.
Okay, then repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Thought of the Day by Ali Solji.
Hi, y'all. Oops, what's going on here with my video? Sorry, I thought I was on. Okay, today I'm just wanting to read from our wonderful Rotary four-way test book. And if you all just take a minute with me, please. That we think, what is this? That we are thankful for life and for good friends with which to share it. We are grateful for the things that make life worthwhile, a purpose for which to live, a sense of personal worth, and loved ones to make each day bright and meaningful. Thank you for Rotary and the privilege of putting service above self. Add your blessing to each of our lives for this day. Amen.
Thank you. Ed Gold, will you please lead us in song?
Okay, this is a short one, and I, like everybody else, I'm praying for rain. The way things are going, California is going to end up like the Sahara Desert, I think. But anyway, this is a very short one. It has to do with rain. Sing in the rain, just sing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love. Thank you.
Thank you.
No hat, Ed?
And I'll have one next Thursday.
Not even a rain hat, huh?
I was thinking of that, but I didn't have it.
Any guests or visiting Rotarians? Okay. Okay, now I know this is what a lot of people look forward to on a weekly basis. So an airline pilot wrote that on this particular flight, he had hammered his ship into the runway really hard. The airline had a policy which required the first officer to stand at the door while the passengers exited, smile, and give them a thanks for flying our airline. He said that in light of his bad landing, he had a hard time looking the passengers in the eye, thinking that someone would have a smart comment. Finally, everyone had gotten off except for a little old lady walking with a cane. She said, "Sir, do you mind if I ask you a question?" "Why, no, ma'am," said the pilot. "What is it?" The little old lady said, "Did we land or were we shot down?" Okay.
I just had to put in fake laugh, Chris. I think
I
you
hope
have,
you do better
I
than
think
that.
you have
on
to go to a
Tuesday.
dirtier joke. I somehow it's just.
All right, I thought that was cute. All right, do we have any announcements? Okay, so I would like to ask the club for assistance. Regarding sex trafficking, I've been participating with the district club, and they will have speakers that can be provided. But we need to get into private schools. So they're recommending that we'll have better success. So if any of you have connections to the principals in any of the private schools for the middle school and high schoolers, could you please get in touch with myself and share that contact information, and see if we can set up a program for their respective schools. Steve Day, you want to have any further comments on the impact?
I did just knock over my iced tea, so thankfully I drank most of it, so I'm busy cleaning it up. I met with some folks, former employees of my firm. I had lunch with them yesterday, and I explained to them about the Impact Club, and they're very interested. And that's the point. I've been talking to several people about Impact, and I think there's a good interest, a real strong interest out there for the notion of being active in a service organization that does projects, but where these folks just don't have time to make weekly meetings. So I look to my members here to share with me anyone that they might think would be a good candidate. And again, what we're looking for is past Rotarians, and I've talked to a few already, people that we've known. One person being Kevin Komatsu. Some of you probably remember Kevin.
Sure.
Put in a couple calls to Mark Block. I haven't been able to connect with him yet, but I will, and I'm hoping that Mark would be somebody who's interested. So anyway, past Rotarians, family and friends that you know who have not been Rotarians, but who have that Rotary spirit, who want to do service or service projects, who want to give back to the community. So we're really interested in getting this thing moving along. And even within our own club, I've already spoke with several people who've shown interest in participating in our establishing the Impact Club. So I have a lot of confidence that we can get this up and being a very successful Impact Club where we're doing service projects and we have a good nucleus of new Rotarians, because these are going to be Rotarians who are participating in Rotary service projects. And we hope to maybe building it to where we're doing at least one project per month here in our community. And again, it's going to be projects in our community being the West Los Angeles area. So anyway, guess that's it for now, Chris.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other announcements? Okay. Before we get back to our speaker today, I think I'll just open it up to a little friendly chatter for the next 5 minutes, and then we'll introduce Captain Tim. So if there's any chatter among the group, please feel free to enter into it now.
Sorry. President Chris, as many of you know, the latter part of the year, I visit 2 cities that I've never been to, and I make a point of visiting Rotary clubs when I'm there. And this year I'm leaving in November for Istanbul and to visit that school that we're supporting in Israel. And I've got my Rotary Club meetings at English speaking clubs all set up. I'm inviting anybody that wants to go to join me. If you're interested, just let me know and I'll send you the itinerary. And it's going to be very quick, 3 days in Israel, 3 days in Istanbul and back home again.
No, Mark, that's not enough time.
It's all the time that I'm allowed by the boss over there.
Yeah, Istanbul is one of my favorite cities.
I have
Chris,
to talk to you about that, Chris, because you said you have a lot of suggestions about Istanbul, and I'm going to have a little bit of extra time. Rotary clubs meet in the evenings.
Oh, there's so much to see and do there. And the old town is a different world. Quite a bit fascinating, nothing like anything Western that you would see. I know that the first time my wife and I went, we wanted to stay right by the Blue Mosque. And little did we know, at 5 o'clock in the morning, they do the call for prayer. And I thought the guy was in our bedroom calling everybody to prayer. It was so loud. So I will tell you, don't stay by the Blue Mosque in Istanbul.
I'm staying within walking distance of the Orthodox synagogue, and they're getting me in touch with a rabbi so that I can have access. And I'm going to planning to attend Friday night Shabbat services when I'm there.
Okay.
Are you planning to talk to Nevin?
Yes, I've had 2 emails in it, Evan. She hasn't returned the emails yet. I
Oh,
think I may
really?
have a bad email or something.
Well, I can send you an itinerary of what we did while we were there, and it'll give you some ideas to consider.
The one thing I want to do, it's on my bucket list, is go to the Grand Bazaar.
The Grand Bazaar, I think you want to have a guide to take you through it. Otherwise, if you get separated from your wife, you may never see her again.
Lynn Rogo does not go on quick 7-8 day tours, and she does not stay in businessmen's hotels, and she does not fly coach. So I'm on my own. That's why I'm looking for somebody else to go with me. If anybody else wants to tour along, it'd be great.
Well, the Grand Bazaar is interesting, but it's overwhelming, and it can be a little daunting.
Mark, before this meeting every Thursday, it's at 9 o'clock in the morning. I meet regularly with Istanbul every Thursday at 9.
The English club, Marcia?
Well, I mean, it's not a Rotary club and meeting, but it's a special Turkey day for things going on in Turkey. But obviously it's all Rotarians there.
I will be in touch with you. I don't want to take up time here.
Our zoo, who's like a fabulous, I'm not sure which club you're going to, but I met a bunch of Rotarians. The night before the war started, I was in Istanbul, and I think I told some of you about that. But anyway, we'll talk later.
Okay.
Mark, Chris,
Yeah.
can I take a moment? Marcia and I have had an inability to be in the same room together. She's gone to events, I've gone to events. We never seem to go to the same events. And I want to make a presentation to Marcia. I know she's very busy. The NFL starts in a couple of weeks, college football, and all the other things that Fox is involved in. So Marcia, I hope you don't mind if we do it over Zoom, but I'd like to make a presentation of a Paul Harris Society pin to Marcia Hunt. And on behalf of the Rotary Foundation, as your foundation chair, I would like to make the presentation right now. Seems like we have a few minutes. It should only be another minute for me to make this presentation. But the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International, Marcia Hunt, is hereby named a member of the Paul Harris Society. Your generous contributions to the Rotary Foundation fulfill the promises made to improve our communities and communities around the world. Thank you for trusting Rotary with your continued generosity. It is signed by last year's District Governor, Gidi Javid, and also by Judy Neuville and Anna Savaruk-Lidsky, who are Paul Harris Society co-chairs. Anyway, Marcia, congratulations. I'm sorry we haven't been able to do it in person. If you don't mind, if you want, I'll be happy to mail this to you, or we can just wait for the time in the future when you and I are actually together.
In the same room?
In the same room. Anyway, everyone, here's the certificate right here. I'll put up to the
Thank you.
camera so everyone can see it. Marcia,
Congratulations.
congratulations, and thank you very much for being a member of the Paul Harris Society member. And for those who don't know, the Paul Harris Society is where somebody gives $1,000 a year to the Rotary Foundation. So Marcia, again, on behalf of Rotary and your club members and everybody in Rotary, thank you very much. Chris, one last comment as well. I'm signed up for the Melbourne Rotary International Convention next May 27th through the 31st. And I'm hoping, Marcia and I have already signed up, and we're hoping that a lot of other Rotarians from Westwood Village will be attending. Mark's hands up. Mark?
I'm signed up.
Oh, wonderful. Great.
I'm
great.
registered.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Gordon. Thanks. And again, it should be a lot of fun. It's again, May 27th to Saturday, May 27th to Wednesday, the 31st of May. So anyway, that's it for now. Thanks, Chris.
Steve, let me ask you a question on the Australian trip. Hopefully they'll open it up because right now they have a lockdown, I think, because of COVID. Is there a date where you have to make a reservation to get special rates at the hotel and all of that sort of thing?
Believe there is certain dates, Ed. If you go online, the Rotary website, if you just Google Rotary International Convention Melbourne, Australia, you'll get into the Rotary link, and it has information about signing up for the convention itself and also checking out the hotels. And the rate, I believe, still is discounted to sign up for the convention, but you have a period of time before it goes up to full cost. And as far as the hotels, you can just check on that. I don't know the time frame though.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, just check
Yeah,
out
and-
Rotary Foundation. Yes.
And they've opened up Australia. So there's
Yeah, I think it's opened up, Ed. I think
there's
it's
no
opened up.
more COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
Well, it
you
should
know?
be, it should be open because my son is there on business. Oh, I forgot
Okay.
about that.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
Yes, Carol.
Quick announcement that Music Men's Minds is being filmed next week, a 3-day shoot by a television show out of Utah called Making Good. And Kirby Hayborn, the host, is a young comedian, singer, songwriter. They have an 8-person crew that will be on the ground here for 3 days. We are shooting several locations of Music Men's Minds in action. And it's a big deal. They have a 54 million viewing audience. So that
Wow,
I'm going to be doing in the next several days.
good. Congratulations as well.
Thank you.
Okay, let's introduce our speaker.
Captain Timothy Pemberton has been an officer in the Salvation Army for the last 7 years. He is a fellow Rotarian as a member of the Beverly Hills Rotary Club, where he is currently their Sergeant of Arms. He is appointed as the Administrator Executive Director of the Santa Monica Adult Rehab Center for the Salvation Army. They're commonly known as ARCs, ARCs. Where his primary goal is to help addicts and alcoholics find a new way of life. Timothy knows firsthand how addiction can destroy lives. Therefore, he connects with the addicted population on a level that many cannot. Fentanyl has been a problem on society for the last several years. Timothy's life has been touched by many individuals he has worked with who have died of overdoses. Timothy joined forces with the Parents Against Fentanyl Death group based out of San Francisco last year, which motivated him to do even more. Since August 31st is Opioid Overdose Awareness Day, Captain Pemberton has combined his 2 greatest passions of bike riding and saving lives into a Ride for Recovery event. Please join me in welcoming Captain Pemberton.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to put a link in the chat and then I'm going to share my screen. So if you have any questions, or you want to contact me, that link is a link to our website, and it will give you all my contact information. All the things that I'm about to talk about are also listed on there. And let's share screen. And there we go. So I am the administrator of the Santa Monica Adult Rehabilitation Center. And my job there is to help addicts who are suffering from substance abuse disorder to find a new way of life, to be transformed. as Diane mentioned, I connect with the individuals because 15 years ago, I was an addict myself. So I have 15 years of continuous sobriety as of last May. So going on 15 and a half years. The Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center is a place where I found my pathway back to restoration. So not only am I the administrator of the center, but all those years ago when I needed help, I went to the Salvation Army, and that's how I got connected to the Salvation Army, and have been there ever since in some capacity or another. In the Salvation Army Santa Monica Adult Rehabilitation Center, I sometimes call it the West Side's best kept secret, because I'm always running into individuals who don't even know that we're there and have no idea of what we do in the community. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on the Salvation Army. There we go. William Booth and Catherine Booth are our founders. They founded us in 1865 in London, England. They saw a need in society where people were destitute, and they wanted to do something about it. So they set about as a mission to preach the gospel, but at the same time, they set about to help individuals who didn't have a way of making ends meet, who were out on the streets or who were suffering from alcoholism, and who were just trying to figure out life and not able to do it. And so the Salvation Army is still doing that 155 years later, I believe it is right now. And we're in 132 countries now.
Friends, we must do more. On any given night in America, 553,000 people are homeless. They are men, women, and children. They are single and married. They are from every ethnic group. They come from a wide variety of economic and social backgrounds, and every one of their stories is unique. In short, they are just like us. And while the reasons for their plight run the gamut, even the briefest visit to some of the cities in our country will convince you that the problem is getting worse. In fact, it's an epidemic. The United States Department of Housing and Urban Development has reported that between 2016 and 2017 alone, the number of unsheltered homeless, that is, those who are not in a shelter of any kind, grew by 9%. 9%. So around many of our most magnificent buildings, those soaring monuments to American industry and commerce of which we are so justly proud, you'll find a collection of small tents. Hidden away in isolated urban pockets, you'll encounter desperate little communities built with cardboard and blue tarps. And scattered across the landscape, in big cities and small towns alike, you'll find people living in their cars. I could go on. I could wax eloquent about the tragic findings of the 2017 Annual Homeless Assessment Report, which found that the fastest growing segment of the homeless population is families. And don't get me started about the kids. According to a recent study by Covenant House, more than 2 million kids are homeless at some point every year. That's 2 million lives that will be forever changed and perhaps forever scarred because they had no place to call home. But I will be brief. We must do something about it, and we must do it now. Ever since our founder William Booth penned In Darkest England and the Way Out, the Salvation Army has been a leader in fighting both the causes and effects of homelessness. We know this work. There is simply no other organization today that has the heritage, the experience, the geographic reach, the organizational infrastructure, and the personnel to address this crisis like the Salvation Army. None. That's why, beginning this year, I'm asking that we commit ourselves to a big goal. I'm asking that we commit ourselves to doubling our impact on homelessness. By virtue of our calling and our mission, You and I bear a special responsibility to do more for those who are struggling on the streets. Indeed, I believe that we have a duty to assume a leadership role. We must show a new generation that there is a way out. Whether it's developing programs that prevent homelessness, operating emergency shelters, opening transitional housing facilities, or building permanent supportive housing, we must act. You already know that the Salvation Army does so many things for so many people across the country. But today I'm asking you to join us as we try to do even more. We need your experience. We need your expertise. We need your influence. And we need your financial support if we're going to achieve this goal. There are people who are hurting right now. We need your help to extend a hand of assistance and of love to those who need it. Join us, friends. Together, we can do this.
It's a message from our national commander with the Salvation Army. Right before COVID hit, he had a vision of doubling our capacity in the Western Territory to increase the amount of services that we could offer. And then COVID hit, and we did. We ended up doubling our capacity through partnerships with the Los Angeles County Department of Health, Los Angeles City, Riverside. They ended up shutting down a bunch of hotels, and they launched this Operation Room Key. So for a brief time, we did double our capacity. Now we're on the other side of COVID, and we're looking still to find ways to continue to increase our capacity because the crisis is not ending. It has just gotten worse. And now that the COVID restrictions are ending, many people are being turned back out into the street. And so we feel it is important that we take the lead and do something about it because, you know, after all, we are the Salvation Army. In California alone, right now, the Salvation Army, it provides 2,236 emergency beds. We have 3,002 bridge house and transitional living facility beds. We have 2,234 permanent supportive housing. And this is the part many don't realize is we have 1,563 recovery and wellness beds. And those are places where people can go that are suffering from the substance abuse disorder that I was talking about, or also we have some beds for individuals who are suffering from different health ailments, or also for senior housing. We have several senior housing apartments throughout throughout Los Angeles and throughout California. Around the world, the Salvation Army, we're involved in hospitals and orphanages and refugee resettlements and many other things. But many of you will not know that in California alone, the Salvation Army is a leader in emergency disaster responses. We have youth centers throughout the state. We have many resources for individuals who are trying to escape human trafficking. We have holiday programs every year where children who are through no fault of their own find themselves without Christmas presents or holiday presents. We go out of our way to make sure that they're provided for them every year. We have unhoused drop-in centers. We have transitional centers, daycare facilities, preschools, veteran supportive housing, unhoused supportive and case management services, food banks, HIV supportive housing, and drug and alcohol treatment services. That's quite a mouthful for what we do in Los Angeles and in California.
Well, she didn't tell us, but we already knew that she was doing drugs.
Well, I didn't understand the drinking part, but I knew he was like not well.
It was not him. He was a different person.
She'd kick us out so she could go to sleep. And it'd only be like 5 o'clock.
I wish she would be up and having fun with us and letting us go outside. But instead we had to be trapped in the house.
Because I see all the other kids' mom helping them with schoolwork, helping them with homework, and then Martin wasn't there.
I got mad at my dad when he would drink. I was worried something might happen to him.
Since he came out from Salvation Army, he's different.
Happy,
Reliable.
joyful, honest, loving. She does a lot more things. She plays soccer with us. She plays catch with us. Now I can count on him to be there for my birthdays. He helps me with school projects. I'm proud of my dad because he's there for me now.
I'm just kidding.
We like to think that we are in the business of giving mothers their sons back.
Once you do something, you can't change. That's what everybody was telling me. But she did change. And she proved them wrong.
Giving children their mothers back and children their fathers back. There's no greater joy that I have than see a family that is restored after they've gone through our program. I know that many of you are familiar with the program that Diane runs, and I'm happy to report that after we have the 6-month initial program, we're able to transition some of our individuals into her program where they can be reunited with their family. And it's such a beautiful thing, putting families back together, making children's faces light up with smiles because they've gotten their parent back. The parent who went to rehab because they couldn't wake up or they weren't there for them have learned a new way of living and is now there for them. The rehabilitation centers are a 6-month recovery program, and we have 7 of them in California right now. Last year, I went out to the beach in Venice Boardwalk and I hung out with some parents. And they started this group called Parents Against Fentanyl Deaths. And I was talking to a bunch of them and it came to my attention that many children are connecting on social media apps and connecting with individuals that they shouldn't be connecting with. And they think they're experimenting with a Vicodin or an oxycodone pill. And they get one pill and they take one pill and they're dead. And that is such a travesty that kids who are just trying to experiment and do what kids do can take one pill and die of an overdose. One of the parents said to me, how can somebody OD on one? But they do. And it's such a sad time we live in. With the fentanyl problem coming in from all parts of the world. We've even had program participants who have gone out and relapsed, and I know them by name and I have their faces because I worked with them. Their faces, they run through my head, and I just realized that there's nothing I can do to change somebody. All I can do is provide them with the tools and the resources to facilitate them to make the decisions to change their lives. But I still get close to each and every client that I have. And so what we're doing in August 31st and all through the month of September is our opiate overdose awareness day on August 31st. And then all the month of September is recovery month. And so we're going to try and do our best to get out the word about fentanyl. I think a lot of people already know about it, but I think that there's still people that don't understand the gravity of the situation and how impactful it is by making one minor little mistake, it could end your life. And it's so sad that that's what we face in this day and age. So we started the Ride for Recovery, and it's got a few different avenues to it, but we're going to have a live event out there at the beach, Santa Monica Boardwalk, September 3rd, from 10 to 2, and we're going to pass out flyers and we're going to talk to people, and it's just going to be a time of talking about what the ramifications of just experimenting with drugs you don't know what they are, because fentanyl is in a lot of different things now. Our program is geared to deal with individuals who are suffering from fentanyl addiction, heroin addiction, whatever the addiction is. We have the 12-step model in place that helps individuals navigate whatever life is, afflictions that they're going through. Our program is it's a group residence, so they live with us. We give them education. They have their daily work therapy assignments where they learn how to develop job skills, so marketable skills when they leave our program. We provide them individual and group counseling. Each person that comes to our program has a personalized rehabilitation plan. We strive for family reunification, and we always want to help individuals enter the workforce or re-enter the workforce. We have worship and recreational activities all the time, and we mandate them to get involved with Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, or Cocaine Anonymous, Crystal Meth Anonymous, because we know that it works. We've seen a proven track record over the last 100 years of individuals who have found lasting sobriety and recovery through those programs. To get into our program, the individuals need to be 21 years of age. They need to be able to do their work therapy assignments. We do make certain exceptions for individuals who are coming in with different handicaps and disabilities, of course, so that we can facilitate a good program for them. We can't take anybody in our program that is currently under the influence of drugs or alcohol, but we are very lucky that we are working with the sobering center that is contracted by the city of Santa Monica. So individuals who come to us and they're not ready to test, we can send them to the sobering center for a few days and then bring them back. And we've had great success with that. They eat, they sleep, they work. It's a normal life. We teach them a normal life. There's 52 beds for men in our facility in Santa Monica, and there's one bridge house that's an extension, and there's like I said, there's the connection with the other programs in our area that we facilitate the men coming into our program so that they can have success when they leave our program. Our program is phased. I'm not going to bore you with all these details, but this is the kind of the structure of our program. It's broken into phases that takes a guy from the point where he needs help all the way to he's a successful member of society, again, working a job, living at an offsite location, ready to transition into a permanent housing, which we're also blessed because we work with the Community Corps of Santa Monica, where we're able to transition our guys after they go through the bridge house into permanent low-income housing in the area. That is a great bonus for them because it's very hard to find affordable housing in our area. Our graduation rate is 3 times the national average. Right now, Santa Monica has a 34% graduation rate, which means after 6 months, 34% of the individuals who have come into our program have 6 months of clean time or sobriety. We fund everything through our thrift stores. You probably have seen them out there. We take donations in the back, we sell them in the front. The cash that comes in pays for all the stuff in the store, minus the donated stuff. And then after that's done, then whatever's left over goes to fund our program. And we take all kinds of items such as clothing, jewelry, shoes, dishes, bikes, appliances, and furniture. We actually last year won the Sustainable Quality Awards in the Santa Monica area because of the fact that we divert so much stuff from the landfill. So we were green before green was cool. We take cars. And so the question might be for you, how can you help? Well, we need we need psychologists and we need counselors who like to donate their time and give back to the community. We need individuals who can volunteer on advisory boards and advisory councils. We need people who have free time to help lead classes and other things like that. So if that's something you're interested in, I would ask that you would reach out and connect with me. We love taking our guys out. So if there's ever any extra tickets to something, think of us, because we want to give that opportunity to individuals so that they can experience that good, clean, sober fun. Job opportunities. I know in the Rotary circles, there's lots of different careers and there's lots of different individuals who go down different paths in lives, and some of you are bosses and some of you are not. But if you have the opportunity to hire one of our graduates, we have a well-structured program where we can give you great employees coming out of our program. The big thing right now is our bridge house is full. So we are currently actively looking for a new bridge house that we can either purchase or lease as a sober living environment for our men who have gone through our program and are ready for that next. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook. And at the Salvation Army, we believe in second chances. And I am a firm believer in second chances because I was given a second chance. And it was because of the Salvation Army and their program that I found a new way to life, a new way of living. And so much so that when the opportunity arose to become a Salvation Army officer, I jumped at it. Thank you. Is there any questions now? No questions?
Thank you, Captain Tim. I've got some questions. You said that 34% graduate, which is 3 times the national average, if I heard that correctly.
That is correct. The national average for sobriety is between 10 and 12% at the 6-month mark. So 10 to 12% of individuals who enter into a rehabilitation facility, the national average says that we're going to have only 1 out of 10 or 1.5 out of 10 make it to the 6-month mark sober.
And so what happens to the 2/3 in the program?
So those are the individuals that die. I hate to say it. Those are the individuals who go back out into the world to test their sobriety one more time. Some of them don't make it back. Some of them try again and again and again and again. And I commend those individuals because they've made it back before the ultimate thing had happened to them. But they try a different program or they go a different direction. Some of them end up just being unhoused individuals living in tent in the open air drug markets that we once had out on the strip.
Okay. So looking at our homeless problem, where there's tens of thousands in Los Angeles alone, it seems that our politicians do not have a good handle on how to address it. Does the Salvation Army ever come up and participate in any of those discussions with the mayor and his staff?
Yeah, the Salvation Army is at the table, but we're not the only person at the table. We're not the only organization at the table. We definitely have the ears of the politicians. They, like I said, with COVID, they actually did Operation Room Key, where they turned over a bunch of hotels to the Salvation Army. We opened them up and we ran them as shelters. And it's because we had the capacity to do that in such a short period of time. The drawback to working with the government in LA and in California is a lot of them are hesitant to work with the Salvation Armies because we're a Christian organization. But we've found ways that where we can still have that synergy with the government, and still provide the services that are so needed, without crossing those lines, where the funding from the government comes to us and we're able to run the center. And then if somebody is interested in exploring their spirituality, we're there for them also. That being said, I've seen how much the government, the LA County government is spending on those permanent housing solutions, and it is mind-boggling how they can spend $750,000 per unit for a homeless transitional living, permanent living facility for unhoused. Mind-boggling.
It is. Mark, go ahead. Mark, go ahead.
Trying to find a button here for my microphone. Captain Tim, what do you attribute your admirable 15-year tenure of staying sober and away from your addiction? What are you doing that they're not, or what do you attribute that to?
Well, 34% of the individuals who come through my program are successful at the 6-month mark. So I give them all the credit that's due to them. What I did differently was, and I tell this to the guys who go through my program all the time, if you never want to come back to rehab, never leave. And what does that mean? That means stay connected to your support network, stay connected to your AA, NA, your church, and the Salvation Army itself. I stayed around the Salvation Army for so long after I went through the program that I eventually became an officer. And so that's what I attribute my long-term success to, was never separating from the support network that I had in place that made my life amazing.
Very admirable. Thank you.
I would imagine that you must be a role model for a lot of the people that go through the program.
I could connect on a deeper level than most, for sure, because I get it. I understand where they're coming from.
Is the program similar to AA, where if someone's under distress, that they have a sponsor that they can call up and ask for?
That's correct. We work closely with the 12-step groups. Our structure is a 12-step social model, but we're more of like an intensive outpatient with residential facilities. So we don't have a lot of restrictions on the men in our program as they progress through our program, because we want to get them back out in the community, taking their newfound sobriety and recovery on a test drive. But at the same time, we mandate that they go to NA and NA, whatever that is, and we mandate that they get a sponsor while they're in our program. So if they're living in our facility, they're going to get a sponsor at a NA or AA.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah. Regarding the fentanyl, I know instances of where young kids have tried that and have died.
Mm-hmm.
And what can we do? It seems like this is more of a political thing with respect to the border and the access to fentanyl and all that kind of stuff. It's such a huge problem today. What can be done politically to get this fentanyl stopped from crossing the border?
So that's beyond my scope of what I could even imagine to talk about. I know that we all have our own personal opinions on what is going on in the world and the things that we need to do as a society to get it under control. I take it down to the personal level, and I try to get the addicts who are suffering off of the drugs. And I try to get the word out into the community what fentanyl will do. Just one time, one pill will take your life.
I just wanted to follow up with what Tom was saying. Over the last 18 months, we've had 4.9 million illegal aliens come across the border. And some of them are bringing drugs. And, we can give another 3 billion to the border of the Ukraine, but we can't spend any more money on border agents. I think it's just terrible.
Again, that's definitely something that that is near and dear to my heart, but also a political issue. And the Salvation Army does not get involved in left or right political issues. We try to stay as far out of political issues as possible with doing what we need to do to head off the effects of what's taking place.
Can you comment on the human trafficking? What the Salvation Army is doing?
Oh, absolutely. The Salvation Army, we have a team that's in place that is trying to make contacts with individuals, and we're able to provide them resources and permanent housing solutions to get them out of the human trafficking arena. For the last several years, several people from the Salvation Army, ladies from the Salvation Army, it wasn't guys, went down to AdultCon. And they were out there giving people information about what human trafficking is. And my wife was one of them that went out there. And she told me of an experience that she had with a young lady who was in the adult entertainment industry, had a conversation with her and said, explained to her what human trafficking was. And this young lady says, wow, that's me. That's what happened to me. And so my wife gave her the resources to contact individuals who can help them get out of that lifestyle.
And is there a program? Is there someone that?
Yes, there is. I don't have that information at my fingertips, but I definitely can get that information. And Diane might have that information already, but if not, I can get her the information if she could pass it on to you.
Okay. Because I think that the club would be interested in a program on what the Salvation Army is doing to address this heinous issue that's affecting so many young people.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to get that information over to Diane.
Go ahead, Diane.
So I do have the information as well, Timothy. I just wanted to point out too that some of the graduates of the captain's program do go on to work at the Salvation Army store. They do drive the trucks that pick up donations from homes and the bins that are around town. So they do try to help employ these recovering addicts as well. As far as the human trafficking, Chris, the Salvation Army does have some sites where those that have been have gotten out of business are now living while they get back on their feet, find jobs. So we do have centers. They're very, secretive. We can't tell you where they are or, release that information. But the Salvation Army has been involved for several years in the human trafficking area.
All right, well, Diane, you and I can talk about it further. I'd like to know more about it.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Captain Tim? All right.
So I would just like to invite you guys all out to our Ride for Recovery on the Santa Monica Boardwalk on September the 3rd. We're going to be out there. The news cameras will be out there. We'll have a time where we're going to give out more information about the Salvation Army.
Okay. Well, on behalf of the club, I want to thank you for an excellent presentation. As much as I think I know about the Salvation Army, you proved to me today I was introduced to quite a bit more. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, we have an in-person meeting next week. Please come early. The in-person meetings seem to start a little bit prior to 12:30, and I will start the program a little not too far much later. I got a few surprises for next week, primarily because we've got the US Open commencing. So with the theme of tennis, there'll be a few videos that you're not anticipating. Up until
The theme is football, Chris.
All right, I thank you all for attending, and we are dismissed. We will see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.